Today, we're going to tackle something huge, maybe the most important currency on the internet, trust. How is it actually built, and how is it proven? We're going to find out by looking at a real-life local business and just taking apart their online presence piece by piece. Okay, let's get into it.
So, picture this. It's 7 a.m. You're already late. And of course, the garage door just will not open. We've all been there, right? That little moment of panic. You grab your phone, and you're suddenly staring at a dozen companies all screaming, "Pick me, I'm the best." So, how do you actually decide who to trust when you're in a jam like that?
For today's deep dive, we're going to put one company under the microscope, Seaside Garage Door Experts. We're going to totally dissect their digital footprint. Look at what they say they do, and then compare it to what their customers are actually saying. That's where you find the real story.
All right, first up, the company's digital promise. This is basically their marketing pitch, right? It's everything they want you to believe about them before you even pick up the phone. And right off the bat, they hit you with this big, bold claim. They call themselves a one-stop service solution. I mean, that sounds impressive, doesn't it? It basically says, hey, whatever your problem is, we can handle it. But what does that really mean?
Well, they don't just leave it at that. They actually list out a whole menu of services. Broken springs, opener repairs, track leveling, the whole shebang. But look at that last one. 24/7 emergency services. Ding, ding, ding. That's a huge deal for anyone stuck in that 7 a.m. panic we were just talking about.
And then there's this. Just one single number sitting right there on their site. 3,500. As in 3,500 projects done just this year. Now that's not just them saying we're good. That's them saying we're busy, people hire us all the time, and we've got the experience to prove it. It's a really powerful piece of social proof.
Okay, so that's the story the company is telling us. It sounds pretty good, right? But now for the fun part. We gotta check the receipts. Let's move on to the customer's verdict. This is where the rubber really meets the road. So, remember that big promise about 24/7 emergency service? The website spells it out. Swift and efficient. Assistance is just a call away at any time. I mean, that's a pretty serious commitment to make. The real question is, do they actually live up to it?
And here we go. Here's our proof. A customer, Sinead, talks about a freak issue during thunderstorms. I mean, that's a textbook emergency situation. And her review? Very fast, reasonable, and informative. See, this is so much more than just a 5-star rating. This is a real person in a real crisis confirming that one of the company's biggest promises is actually true.
All right, so they're fast. That's a huge plus. But what about the quality of the work? Are they actually any good? Their website talks a big game about their professional team and getting the best result. Those are easy words to throw around. Let's see if the customers felt the same way.
And boom, here it is again. This customer says the technician communicated clearly, left the place spotless, and, there's that magic word, was very professional. Did you catch that? The customer is using the exact same language as the company's marketing. That is a massive green flag. It just screams consistency. Okay, now this review, this one is the real kicker. This goes beyond just being good at your job. This is about honesty. Tiffany says she was quoted over $3,000 by someone else for a full replacement. But what did this company do? They just repaired it. Think about that. That one story right there probably builds more trust than a $1 million ad campaign ever could. It's just, wow. So, we've seen the company's claims, and we've seen the customer stories that totally back them up. Now, let's kind of zoom out a bit and get a little more, analytical about it. Let's break down the anatomy of trust and look at the cold, hard data.
This is where things get really interesting. Because it's not just about what people say in reviews. Third-party sites like Thumbtack give us verifiable facts. Look at this. They're a top pro, they've been in business for 13 years, they've been hired over 180 times just on this one platform. And they're background checked. This is all stuff you just can't fake. It's trust you can actually measure.
And if you want to see what that looks like, well, here you go. Just look at this chart. Out of 128 reviews, 96% are 5-star. You don't even need to read the comments. The picture itself tells you everything you need to know. That is just an absolute avalanche of positive feedback.
Here's another huge piece of the puzzle. They're totally transparent about their process. They literally lay out the steps for you. And what's so cool is that these steps, consultation, a detailed estimate, clear communication, are the exact same things people were praising in the reviews. So it's not an accident, it's their actual system. It's baked right into how they operate. But, it's not all perfect.
And I think this is important. We did a little digging and found their Facebook link is broken, and there's a little tech glitch on their Google search result. And you know what? I kind of like it. It feels real. It shows they're a genuine small business focusing on the actual work, not some faceless corporation with a perfectly manicured, flawless online presence.
So, we've taken this one company apart. But what's the point? What can we all learn from this for the next time we're the ones with the broken garage door? Let's wrap this all up with some key takeaways. Lessons for the homeowner. So here it is. Here's your cheat sheet. When you're trying to figure out who to hire, look for these signals. Don't just look at star ratings. Read the stories in the reviews. Do the company's big promises actually show up in what customers are saying? Look for a clear process. Look for hard data, like years in business. And maybe the biggest one of all, search for those golden nuggets of honesty. Those stories about a cheap repair when they could have pushed for an expensive replacement. That's the real stuff.
And that's how this one company does it. They build a solid case for trust with their promises, their customer stories, and their verifiable data. But it makes me wonder, for you personally, when you're in that jam and you have to make a split-second decision, what's the one thing that tips the scales? In this online world full of slick profiles, what's your ultimate test for trust?